The airport buzzed with noise. Boarding calls, hurried footsteps, and rolling suitcases. But for Ryan, everything froze the moment he saw her. 5 years had passed since he last looked into Emma's eyes. Yet there she was, standing near Gate 12, holding a baby in her arms. Her hair was tied back, her face calm, but her eyes, those same hazel eyes, held something deeper now. The baby squirmed, letting out a tiny cry that pierced straight through Ryan's chest. He couldn't move. It felt like someone had stolen the air around him. For a man who had built empires, who could silence entire boardrooms with one word, Ryan had never felt so powerless. His heart raced. The child's small hand reached for a toy, revealing a charm bracelet, one identical to the one Ryan once gifted Emma on their 3rd anniversary. His pulse quickened. That bracelet was gone the night she left. He remembered begging her to stay, promising he would change. But ambition had been louder than love back then. Now, watching her whisper to the baby, a storm rose inside him. Regret, fear, and a question he couldn't silence. Could that child be his? He took a hesitant step forward, his voice catching in his throat. Emma. She froze, turning slowly, her eyes meeting his with shock and something else, pain. Ryan, she said softly. The baby looked up at him, and in those innocent brown eyes he saw a reflection so familiar it made his knees weak. The world blurred around him. Everything he thought he knew about his life began to shift. Ryan stood frozen as Emma clutched the baby tighter, her expression unreadable. The hum of the airport faded, replaced by the pounding of his heartbeat. "Is that your baby?" he asked quietly, his voice trembling despite his effort to stay calm. Emma's lips pressed into a thin line. "Please, Ryan, not here." Her tone was polite but distant, like a door being gently closed. He took a cautious step closer, desperate to bridge the space between them. "I just need to know," he whispered. "I deserve to know." Emma looked away, her eyes glistening. "You had your chance to care, remember?" Her words sliced through him sharper than any business deal gone wrong. Before he could speak, again she turned, blending into the crowd as the baby rested its head on her shoulder. Ryan wanted to chase her, shout her name, but something inside told him she would vanish if he did. Hours later, in his penthouse, the image of that child's eyes refused to leave his mind. He poured himself water, his reflection trembling in the glass. The baby had his eyes, his father's eyes. Could it really be possible? Memories of that last night with Emma replayed like a cruel movie. Her tears, his pride, his words about not being ready for a family. Now, alone in a silent apartment full of luxury, he felt poorer than ever. The thought of a son he might never meet burned through him, and for the first time in years Ryan realized he had lost something money could never buy. Sleep never came that night. Ryan sat by the window, staring at the city lights that once symbolized success, but now only reflected emptiness. His phone lay silent beside him, yet his mind screamed with questions. Every deal, every award, every flight, all of it suddenly meant nothing. At sunrise, he made a decision. He couldn't live with what if. He had to find Emma and know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. By mid-morning, he was at his office, but not for work. His assistant looked shocked when he asked for Emma's last known address. "Sir, is everything all right?" she asked gently. "No," he replied honestly for the first time in years. Within hours he was outside a quiet townhouse on the outskirts of the city. The front yard was small but full of color, tiny flowers growing in neat lines. Emma's touch was still there. He hesitated, his heart racing as the door opened before he could knock. Emma stood there holding the baby. The morning light framed them perfectly and the sight nearly broke him. "Ryan," she said softly, surprised but not angry. "Why are you here?" He swallowed hard, every practiced speech disappearing. "Because I can't stop thinking about you. About him." Her eyes widened slightly at his words. "You lost that right when you walked away," she whispered. The baby reached toward him, small fingers curling, as if the universe itself was answering his question. Ryan felt his throat tighten. "Please," he said quietly. "Just tell me, is he mine?" Emma's eyes filled with emotion, but she turned away before answering. The baby began to fuss, and she gently rocked him, whispering softly to calm him down. Ryan stood frozen, his hands trembling slightly. Every second of silence between them felt like an eternity. "Emma," he said finally, his voice low, almost pleading, "I am not here to fight, I just need the truth." She sighed, looking down at the baby. "Truth?" she repeated quietly. "The truth is, you made it clear once that there was no place in your life for a family." Her words hit like a blade twisting in his chest. "That's not true," he said quickly. "I was scared, yes, but I never meant to lose you." Emma gave a sad smile. "You were scared of love, Ryan. I was scared of being invisible." The room fell silent except for the soft sound of the baby's breathing. He took a step forward. "Just one answer," he whispered. "Is he my son?" She looked at him for a long moment before saying, "Yes, he is. His name is Liam." Time stopped. Ryan felt both joy and grief collide inside him. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. Emma's eyes shimmered with tears. "Because you were too busy chasing a world that never had room for us. I wanted to protect him from disappointment." Ryan felt his knees weaken as he looked at the baby, his son. "I can't change the past," he said softly. "But please, Emma, give me a chance to be part of his future." Her silence said more than words ever could. The next morning, Ryan found himself sitting in his car outside Emma's house again, holding a small stuffed bear he bought at a shop on the way. He had not felt this nervous since his first business deal years ago. He stared at the bear, wondering if it was too small, too simple for a first gift from a father who had missed an entire year of his child's life. The thought tore at him. Finally, he gathered courage and walked to the door. When Emma opened it, she seemed surprised but not angry. "You came back," she said softly. "I meant what I said," he replied. "I want to be here. I don't care how long it takes." For a moment she studied his face, searching for the man she once loved, the one who had dreamed, laughed, and built everything from nothing. Something in his eyes had changed. He was no longer the man who had placed success above love. "Liam's nap time is soon," she said after a pause, "but you can come in." Inside, the sight of toys scattered across the floor made Ryan smile. He had missed so many small moments, the laughter, the first steps, the bedtime stories. When Emma placed the baby in his arms for the first time, Ryan's world went still. The tiny heartbeat against his chest made tears rise uninvited. "Hide, little one," he whispered, his voice shaking. "I'm your dad." The baby looked up at him and smiled, a small, pure smile that broke every wall around Ryan's heart. For the first time in years, he understood what real wealth felt like. Weeks passed, and the rhythm of Ryan's life changed completely. His mornings, once filled with calls and meetings, now began with laughter and tiny footsteps. Each time he held Liam, he felt something inside him heal, a part of himself he had ignored for years. He started canceling flights, skipping parties, and spending hours at the small park near Emma's home, just watching his son chase sunlight. For Emma, it was strange at first. She had seen him promise before, and she had learned not to trust words. But this time, Ryan's actions spoke louder than anything he could ever say. One evening, as the sun painted gold across the sky, Emma found him sitting on the porch, holding Liam close while humming softly. She stood quietly, watching him, tears forming in her eyes. "You really changed," she said finally. He looked up, smiling gently. "I just remembered what matters most." Emma stepped closer, her heart softening after so many years of guarding it. "He adores you, you know," she whispered. "And I—" She paused, her voice trembling. "I'm starting to believe in you again." Ryan reached for her hand, his eyes full of gratitude and hope. In that quiet moment, surrounded by the glow of evening and the laughter of their child, the walls between them finally crumbled. Ryan realized that success wasn't measured in numbers or wealth. It was measured in love, forgiveness, and the courage to start again. The man who once feared family had found his true home.